Hey guys, we're going to discuss Chapter 10, which covers decision making and problem solving. Decision making is the cognitive process of assembling information to select a course of action, and this is when you're offered several alternatives. This goes down to judgment, which is the process of forming an opinion or making a decision by comparing possible actions. Usually judgment is not perfect. There are several factors to make judgment difficult, and this can lead to irrational decision making. Every judgment is subject to error and bias. There's something called the anchoring effect, which is the tendency to rely too heavily on an initial piece of information when making a judgment. We are all prone to particular errors of judgment. One problem is the Monty Hall problem, and this is an example of an error in decision making in which someone fails to estimate the outcome after being given additional information. So sometimes we think our hindsight is really good because our memory is also easily distorted. Hindsight bias is the tendency to misremember our previous views to fit our current knowledge or beliefs. So when you have information in your head that you already believe, it's hard to remember previous beliefs. Confirmation bias is when we remember events that fit our preconceptions and to dismiss or forget events that do not. So when we already have something in our head that we believe, we'll try to pick certain events that fit our belief and try to dismiss other events that disprove our already believed belief. Belief persistence is the tendency to hold on to a belief even if we find out that it's wrong. We obviously love hating, we obviously love gaining and we hate loss. There's the framing effect, which is a cognitive bias that occurs when way too much information is presented and makes a significant difference in what people will decide. So that's when there's certain information that's presented in a certain way that will affect how people decide certain things. Loss averse is a characteristic of being very reluctant to do anything that might lead to loss. Gambler's fallacy is the belief that an outcome of random events to the point will affect the probability of future random events, which is like saying when you flip a coin multiple times, every single time, there's a 50-50 chance of it being heads or tails. But that is believing that if you land heads, 7 times, you'll believe that it will still land on heads just because it landed on heads 7 times before. Even though there's still a 50% chance that it will land on tails, the probability does not change. Problem solving involves algorithms, heuristics, and representations. The Tower of Hanoi is a problem in which you transfer